Okay then everyone, let's tell you about some of the stories critical to the 2019 election. A coalition of presidential candidates, mainly those who are featuring candidates for the first time, have raised serious concern ahead of the 2019 general election. Speaking at a joint press conference by the group, the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, Mr. Obadiah Melafia, said that recent flash killings across the country, and especially the killings of soldiers in Borno State by members of Boko Haram terrorists, need to be addressed ahead of the elections. Well, let's just tell you about some stories we are following that we'll be discussing on the program. The National Peace Committee and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, have met on the agenda of the umpire for the 2019 elections. The elder statesmen wanted to find out about the preparations of INEC. Members of the committee include former heads of state, Abdul Salami Abubakar and Reverend Father Matthew Kuka.
The aim of the meeting with the political parties is to try to reach an understanding where we'll get them at a later date to sign the memorandum of understanding of how to go on campaigning without bitterness, and for all the parties to accept the end result when finally INEC declares the election.
Told them everything that we have been doing to ensure free and fair elections, including the registration of voters, making the PVCs available for collection well ahead of the elections, and some of the issues and challenges that we are facing, for which we have sought for the support of the National Peace Committee, and with the chairman has adequately briefed you.
Well, then the issues about the elections are critical with the level of politicking in the land. Remember that a political party signed a peace pact in 2015 where the major candidates agreed to be peaceful no matter the outcome of the polls. Let's talk about the elections, security and the preparations for 2019. Are we ready as a people? In terms of security, what do we need to look at as a nation? Let's get talking. Joining me from Abuja studio tonight is Professor Oshita. Oshita is the Director General of the Peace Institute. Thank you so much, Professor, for coming tonight on the program. Or former Director General, sorry about that. Let's begin with what we're seeing in the country. Do you think that we are ready for this election in terms of the intensity of the engagement between these political parties?
Well, Benga, I would like to say that some people have raised the issue, is another National Peace Committee needed for the 2019 general elections? My response will be an emphatic yes. Because I was part of what happened in 2015, and I do know that as we speak, our politicians, key players, are still carrying along as if they are warlords, political warlords, and as if this is not a country that will continue to be after elections. So to that extent, I do think that we do need the National Peace Committee, which did a lot of work the last time in 2015. And between that time and now, I do know that we haven't changed much as a people, and our political class has also not changed at all. If anything, perhaps we are more, we behave more now like it's a battlefield than we even did before. So talking about security for the elections, I can't say much, but I do know that INEC is doing a lot of work with ICES, the platform that has all security stakeholders that support the elections. So I would say that it is a good thing that the National Peace Committee is getting ready again. But I mean, to add to this, we do not, we can't continue to rely on ad hoc structures. This country must have, well-grounded infrastructure for peace and conflict resolution that would, take off anytime. In fact, we'll just be there all the time as a substratum for all the activities that we carry out. So we will not be waiting every time we ask people to, okay, set up a National Peace Committee. So I do think that we need more sustainable structures that will be able to support the democratic, practice in this country.
All right, Professor Oshita, let's look at this way. You were part of that process, and it does look like it worked magic. Because after that election, for the first time that we've seen in the politics of the African continent and in Nigeria, we saw an incumbent president who lost to a main opposition party, conceding defeat and reaching out to his opponent. Do you think that kind of atmosphere exists, or we should have some fears and concerns with the way and manner politicians are playing politics this time around?
Well, basically, a precedent has been set by that particular election, that occurrence, and we expect that, if anything, happens in that direction, that precedent will be a good thing, to rely on, because as people often say, the country will continue to be here. And then if there's no country, we can't have political leaders, we can't have people. In the refugee camps, you don't have judges, my lordship, you don't have excellencies, or in IDP camps, as it were. So I think that the honorable thing to do is that we all be ready that elections are won, elections are also lost. So whatever happens, as I just heard the chairman of the National Peace Committee, His Excellency General Salami Abubakar just said, is urging, political actors to ensure that they have an open mind, that when you go into an election, you either win or lose. There is no middle course. So,
Professor, one thing that is...
anyone who has...
Sorry if I may butt into what you're saying. What I was trying to ask you is that you did say that it does look like there's a world of difference from what happened the last time in 2015 and what is playing out in 2019. And so the question is that, what are your major fears, especially with the politicians this time around, that we need to start raising flags about?
Well, I would say that every time you have elections, you have to have some fears, given that we live in an environment where people want to have their way all the time. You understand? So basically, it's not as if I have any specific any specific fears about this election, but I know that given that it's only a few days since campaigns started, there are some concerns that one must show. So I believe that by and by, every political actor would know that it's either win or lose. There's no middle course. And that the country must, the people must, the interest of the people must prevail.
Okay, Professor Oshita, stay with us for a moment. We need to take a break now. And when we return, we look at the preparations of INEC, the security situation in the Northeast region. Are we really ready for this election? That forms our conversation next on the program when we return. Stay with us, everyone.